Welcome to the latest episode of 5 on the Floor on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thanks for joining us on your favorite podcast app on Apple Podcasts, on Android to recommend Spotify. Let's check out the 5 Reasons YouTube channel for all your South Florida sports content, including your Canes and Dolphins content. Plenty of that going on right now. Also, check out Prize Picks. Use the code 5, F-I-V-E. Put down your 5. Delete whatever code that you see there. Add our code F-I-V-E. Get $50 in the Explore page. Again, Prize Picks is the official fantasy sponsor of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. It's legal in the state of Florida. Play 2 to 6 players together across the sports spectrum. So check it out. It's prizepicks.com. And now, today's live episode.
Uh-oh. Yeah. It's Mercy. Music by Mercy again. Heat Nation, we the culture. Yo, E, I need you to call timeout. Need Brady to set the floor plan. Tropical blanket, open for the shot. Yo, Greg, set the pick. Still 5 on the floor, still ride for my dog. Still battle on the court, still survive in the war. Keep your eye on the ball, or get burned from the keep this mic off the wall without turning the cheek. From night to day, no sleeping pads or allowed to morning. The nut is sleeping us, never catch us snoring. Live from Miami, report in the heat with 5 Reasons Sports from the courts to the streets. Yeah, Wake County, Heat Nation, we say it proudly.
Welcome to 5 on the Floor, a daily insider show on the Miami Heat and the NBA, featuring Ethan Skolnick, Greg Sylvander, Alex Toledo, Brady Hawk, and others from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Also, make sure to subscribe to Off the Floor for the most heat anywhere.
To 5 on the floor, and this one is disappointing because it looked like the Heat had it in hand. And it wasn't the third quarter this time, as it's been so many times. It was the fourth. The Heat lose 119-114 to the Boston Celtics. They get absolutely torched. I mean, I won on my prize pick, but they got absolutely torched by Anthony Simons. I said he'd go over 15.5. 39. 13 of 18 from the floor, 7 of 16. 7 of 16. He hit a couple of shots during that run that were just absolutely ridiculous. I got Greg Sylvander. You can follow him at Greg Sylvander. I've got Eternal Bass. You can follow him at Eternal Bass. Also, check out the episode we did on John Morant earlier tonight. I know there's going to be more calls for that. Here, a couple of the other stats in this game, and then we'll get to what happened in the fourth quarter. Powell led the Heat with 26. Hero had 22. Second straight game that they've scored well together. Shot 19 of 30. Didn't matter. Wiggins had 16. Bam had 22, 4, and 5. Pelle Larsson as a starter had 7 points, 3 rebounds. There was no Davion Mitchell tonight. There was no Jaime Jaquez. That latter absence was felt because the bench tonight, the only player to score more than 3 was Kasparis. He had 12 points in 27 minutes, taking that backup point guard role and actually playing like a starting point guard at times. Just 3 points from Jovic, 1 of 6. 3 from Ware in 9 minutes, something that we're going to discuss. Fontecchio gave them nothing in 17 minutes, and Drew Smith was 0 of 4 in 12 minutes. Greg, I'll go to you first, and we'll try to get some of these comments up here. A lot of people are blaming Spoelstra for this one. Is that where you go, or do you go somewhere else?
I don't know. They were up 11 after 1, up 10 after 2, up 10 after 3, and then they completely blow it, being outscored 36-21 in the fourth quarter. I mean, this is a game that they had. You opened up by saying that that's what makes it disappointing. And I have to echo that, because this was a game that they were playing good basketball. They were looking connected enough on offense. Like you said, a lot of their top contributors played relatively well. Norm was particularly efficient. Wiggins had moments early in the game. Bam had 17 in the first half. So there were a lot of positive signs. And then to just completely bleep the bed in the fourth quarter, it's disconcerting because Boston's without their best player, and they sold other players to kind of just reboot in a year that they thought was kind of almost like a mulligan situation with no Jason Tatum. And they're 10 games over 500, and the Heat are middling around 500. And that's just that leaves a poor taste in my mouth. Also, one more thing, and then I'll pass the mic. Boston has came down to Miami and won, I think, like 8 of their last 9 now. And especially in them playoff games, I'm getting sick of the Celtics winning on the Heat's home floor. At some point, they got to knock their ass to the floor. So anyway, that's a podcast for another day.
Yeah, and I know, again, so much criticism of Spo here. Let's go to Eternal on this. I know you're a big Ware guy. I don't know that matters in terms of guarding Anthony Simons. But what else could have been done there? Oh, well, we'll go to you when you get your mic on. So let's go. Let's go again. Ware had 5 rebounds in 8 minutes, 3 of which were offensive rebounds. Again, I just kind of go back to this point. Turner, go ahead.
I was just going to say, well, you spoiled it, but I was going to say, do you know who led the team in offensive rebounds? It's tied. It's Bam and Kelel. Kelel only played almost 9 minutes, right? I know Naveen posted in the host updates, considering the way Kelel was playing in November and December, boasting 28 points, 19 rebounds, a lot of very, very impactful games, even without the gaudy numbers. It's just weird to see where he is. But Ethan, you talked about this before the season. They wanted to see what Tyler and Norm was going to look like together. They weren't going to put Davion on the bench. It didn't seem like they would put Andrew on the bench as well. So that's your starting lineup, right? Now, of course, with tonight, with Davion being out, Pella has been the ultimate glue guy. Of course, you would have liked to have seen Kelel start with Bam with their unit tonight. But because Boston wasn't really big, I guess that's, they didn't go with it. But they're not a great team when they're healthy for a lot of different reasons, right? And for healthy, it doesn't always necessarily mean being whole, but it's very complex the way they are constructed at this moment.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they weren't healthy tonight, right? So they're missing 2 guys, but then they felt the loss of those 2 players. I mean, that's the problem. It's like, are they better when they're healthy, or are they better when they're not healthy, or are they better when they're whole or not? But they don't seem to be able to. And we saw, look, they're coming off a good win against Phoenix. I was surprised about that win against Phoenix. I thought they would lose all 3 games on this homestand. I still think they're going to lose on Saturday night, Greg. At least they're going to stay, they didn't sink under 500 as a result of all this. But it's the Boston part that gets to me, because they should not be worse than Boston. They should not be worse than Boston when they're missing a couple of players, because that's not the kind of season that this was supposed to be for the Celtics in particular. So it's hard for me to make excuses for the Heat when Boston has been missing who they've been missing this year, and when they also pivoted to more of a transition year and to go young. And those guys, I mean, and again, Simons is a guy who can score, but to allow him to do that time after time after time. And I know people are going to say they don't have great guard defenders. They don't. I mean, with the exception of Davion and then Drew, whose minutes I think, have not been productive offensively for a while. Let's just be honest about that. We're starting to see some of the limitations of some of these guys. But I mean, people saying they needed Davion out there for Simons. They did, but if you can't overcome that, what are we really talking? And Bam hasn't really been the problem the last 2 games.
No, and this is the other thing. Like, somebody just has to take some pride and let's not have him hit 7 threes on us. Like, I just think it was a game where the Heat got up and they were feeling themselves, and then they got humbled again. And it just shows you that this team is not one that can consistently stay above 500. And it just reinforces that there are parts of the team that I think could be viable working pieces on a contending roster in the East, but they need to shake up. Like, let's just get to it. And I know that that's not necessarily game analysis, but for me, this just reinforces when they completely blow the fourth quarter against a Boston team that is shorthanded in a number of ways. We'll see. OKC's up next. That obviously is not a great matchup either. So what started to feel like a promising little turnaround is all of a sudden looking like they could hit another roadblock.
All right, let's get to the player of the night. I don't know that there's going to be anybody from the Heat side, but we'll get to it. We're putting some of the comments up here as we go. If you're listening on the podcast feed, that's sometimes where there's a little pause where we're going there. A lot of anti-Spo stuff in here. And this one, Derek White, the GOAT Heat killer, took the night off, and they still lose. He didn't do much tonight at all. But this is a point, and we'll get to this when we get to the player of the night. It's hard to survive late game with Tyler and Norm on the court together. They just get hunted, and it pulls everyone else out of position. And that's why I've said that even when they score, and they did score tonight, they did score in the last game, that's going to be the issue on the other side. And that's why I don't know that we need 20, 30 games to decide that this is going to work or not. I don't know how it works, how you protect them enough. That's the thing. Go ahead, Eternal.
I was going to say, even on the offensive end, they were getting off when the other person wasn't like a major factor on the offense. Tyler got his early. Norm didn't touch that ball damn near into the second quarter. And Norm didn't really get going until Tyler was out. So it's you're still seeing a lot of my turn, your turn kind of thing. So it's not like they're flowing within the offense. And a point could be made that while they're increasing pick and rolls, right, like including more screens, that is inhibiting their offense of the flow that they were in, and what they had built up from training camp all the way up to now. Because even in the Phoenix game, that wasn't like super great offense. It was Jaime getting in, drawing, collapsing the defense or whatever. And the game before that with OKC, the offense just seems to sputter at times, and then you're suffering on defense. So,
right. Let's go to the player of the night. It's hard to argue with that.
And now it's time for the A Aggressive Insurance Player of the Night, sponsored by our friend Lynette. You can find her at insurancebylynette.com. That's with 2 N's and 2 T's, insurancebylynette.com. If you need car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, or any other type of insurance, she's the person to go to. Based in Lauderhill, she services the entire Tri-County area here in South Florida, and she will make sure to get you the best deal. She'll probably talk to you about the heat while you're at it. Reach out to her, insurancebylynette.com. And now, the player of the game.
I mean, it's Simons, right? Is there any other?
I just want to say Sam Hauser's the most annoying. I know that guy.
You know what? Yeah. The player of the game
more too. Yes,
is almost 30 points in second chance points to the Heat 7.
So let's look at I mean, it was everybody too. It was everybody. It wasn't just one guy on Boston. I mean, they spread the rebounds around. I mean, Walsh had 8 off the bench. I mean, these aren't all offensive rebounds, but Keita had 9 as a starter. Jalen had 7. I mean, if you get Jalen to go 9 for 24, you're supposed to beat this Boston team. You just are. I mean, right. Pritchard was 1 of 4. Derek White was 1 of 7. Like the 3 guys you came in saying, okay, these are the 3 guys that are going to hurt you the most. Combined to go 11 of 35, and you still managed to lose the game. Anthony Simons took 28 shots. He took 28 shots. He had 16 3-point attempts, 4 rebounds, 4 assists in 34 minutes. And sometimes one of my frustrations is when a guy gets going against them, Spo doesn't always have the answer in terms of getting the ball out of his hands, enough trapping. I know we say that it's going to compromise the rest of the defense, but at a certain point, if a guy's making 27-footers without looking, just do something to get the hot hand out of there. Let's get to Ware here. What do we think? Is he hurt? He's not getting to 20 minutes consistently. Go ahead.
So we'll have to check Brady and Alex's timeline as they report live from the locker room and from the press box. Listen to me, from the media room. I didn't see anything that looked like an injury. The broadcast didn't hint at an injury. This looked like a game where, and this used to happen with, bear with me, y'all, Hassan and Kelly Olynyk. Whenever they'd play Boston, you just couldn't keep him on the floor because Olynyk would outsmart him. And tonight it looked like they thought that Boston would outsmart Kelel Ware. Other than that, I can't come up with a reason because in the short minutes that he played, in a statistic that they desperately need to win a battle, he was productive. So why not play him more? I have no answers. There was no injury reported. To me, that tells me that Spo just does not trust him. And again, I mean, what is that for your best asset?
Well, right. Best asset or best building block, one or the other. And that's the problem here is he's got to be one or the other, right? Like, I mean, you drafted him 15th overall. I just don't think they're in the kind of season where it makes sense to make him earn it every single night. I just think he's got to play through some things. I mean, Jovic is playing through some things right now, but they've paid him already. I just think with Ware too, they need to get. I don't know. They need to find a way to let him play through some of this stuff. He's going to have mistakes. We know he's going to have mistakes. We've talked about this a lot. I was in favor of making him earn it, as we talked about it over the summer. But this idea of him playing that few minutes again when they're getting killed on the boards is problematic. Also, people haven't mentioned, we didn't get a chance to mention this on the podcast, Davion Mitchell's contract officially can be traded as of today. Not that we believe that's going to happen imminently or anything like that, but just a note we haven't gotten to on the podcast. I'm going to some of the comments here. This is from Fresco. Ware made several weird shot selections. But then there's the other side of this. It's from Mitch Jordan 93. We need a new coach that will give Ware lots of minutes. Where's the line for you, Eternal? Like, what is the line for you in terms of what he can do right or wrong that he should sit afterwards?
I think that you already came into the season knowing that majority of your team was very young, right? Like, we've seen them talk about it. Norm has talked about it in the press conferences, post game and everything like that. Bam is super committed to him and Kelel working. They do a great job of coaching him up. He has had moments, like really, really big, impactful moments. Again, besides the gaudy numbers, Jaime has been great all season. You're going to have to deal with the ups and downs that comes with guys that are under 25. They're not going to figure it out every night, bro. Like, they're not going to put up 19-7-7 or 28-19. Like, they're not going to put, like, Cass had 12-9 tonight. He almost had a double-double. It finished, like, closed out. There could be another game with Cass has like 8 turnovers. You're going to have these nights. I don't know if Miami is fully committed to fuck it, man. Like, we know you're gonna fuck up, but let's do the best job we can to make sure that you don't lose all of your confidence. Because it does look like his body language does not look great on the bench. His body language does not look great on the bench.
No. And also, like, they were basically letting Yakachonis sit out there on an island against Anthony Simons at times, and they were letting him, quote unquote, play through that. And it's just interesting to see such a shorter leash for a player that's shown so much more. And I know Davion was out tonight, Drew Smith was uneven, so there was an opportunity for Yakachonis, but for Yakachonis to apparently have a longer leash than Kelel Ware right now on January 15th, I couldn't have predicted that.
Let's get to the play of the night as we're getting to some of these other comments. Get Ja. I recognize that commenter. Welsh God, Kaz has surprised me with his defense, not going to lie.
He should get credit for that.
Yeah, he should. I know. We always focus on that. We try to. And then also Smith having more of a green light than Ware is crazy. It's starting to strike me as a little bit, out of the norm.
Before you get to the play of the night, I just want to bring this up. Did any of you suspect that Andrew Wiggins would be so ISO heavy this season?
No, especially because he's one of the 10 worst ISO players in the league by the numbers.
Yeah, it's bad offense. It's just bad. Anyway, on to the play of the night.
And now it's time for the X-ray of the play of the day, brought to us by our friends over at Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services. Nelson and his team will bring the X-ray equipment and the staffing to you if you work in a hospital or a medical office. Get a consultation today at c-armandstaffing.com or give them a call at 561-891-9620. Their fleet of trucks at your service. Again, it's Mobile C-Arm and Staffing Services, 561-891-9620. And now, the X-ray of the play of the day.
I was going to go with the 30-foot three, but do you guys have another one?
Oh, I
want to talk about it.
I would say probably the last impactful play for Boston, when they basically forced the action to one side and caused the Heat to overhelp, which swung Jaylen Brown 3 on a Bam closeout.
Yeah,
like that was it. But I do have what we've been waiting for. Spo on Kelel Ware getting 9 minutes. Look at the game. It was one matchup after another. It was a tough matchup for him in Boston with all the coverages. Same thing tonight. He just has to stay ready. With Kelel, I know it's a lightning rod topic, but he just has to get back to where he was earlier this season when he was stacking days.
Damn. That's not good.
I mean, why is this happening so often? I guess that's the question. Like, why? This is a totally different method he's taken. Now, I said in the summer, so I'm going to at least call myself on it, that I didn't think it was a bad thing, but that it had to be distributed more evenly. Like, that's one of the things we talked about. It feels like it's about one guy, right?
Kind
Like,
of.
there's never really any criticism. Look, let's be honest. He doesn't call out Tyler's defense.
He don't.
Right?
He don't.
No.
Or Norm's defense.
Or
right?
Andrew's offense.
Or Andrew's offense, right?
Like,
so it does feel like it's kind of about one guy lately. And that's why, as much as I am an admirer of Spo and everything that he does, I'm just curious about their tack on this, because if they are trying to move him eventually, it does seem like at a certain point you're scaring off other organizations, aren't you? Because if the Heat can't handle it, right?
This is where you can't miss, man. Like, people are going to get upset with me about this, and I don't care. I don't consider Kelel Ware a pivotal key cog pillar of the Miami Heat going forward. I just don't. So y'all can make of that what you will. But I do see him as a valuable asset for them and a player that they should continue to develop. And he can have great years in Miami. Why not play him? Just like they let Yakachonis out there tonight. Just let him play. I don't understand what the downside is. You're going to be around 500 anyway. It makes no sense. Tonight could have been a showcase game for Ware and Yakachonis, and it just wasn't.
I do think, and I have to push back with both of y'all with this, I think a lot of the fans that do listen to our pods or that are in our Off the Floor Discord, we are so hot and cold sometimes. And we do lead the charge of being hot and cold, because it was like, oh, I'm giving up on Kelel, and then when he has the monster games, then it's like, oh, they shouldn't trade him unless it's for Giannis, and he can be a part of the building block of the future, and yada yada yada. Like, that's a part of being a young player. You're gonna have games where you struggle, but to your point, Greg, they have to have a little bit more leniency with him. Because you know what reminds me of, Ethan, Greg? You let Dwayne Dedman do whatever the fuck he wanted to do on the court, and where was the accountability with that? And I think the reason behind, you expect more from players who are super talented. Like, I'm going to hold you to a higher standard because I don't really believe they're gonna be shit. But you have to do it in a better way. And I'm not gonna sit here in my home and say that I'm a better coach or teacher than Spo. Those guys are fantastic at developing these young players and these guys. But it's like, for as great of a job as Kelel has taken the harsh criticism and really been coachable and everything like that, man, spread that accountability out, because it's a lot of accountability to go around on this team.
This one comes in. I know Mac Tumon's not a big Bam fan, but I'll let him have the floor to finish this thing tonight. Throw that one back up there if you can. Ware is hands down more talented than Bam. That may be Spo's issue. He doesn't want Ware to pass up Bam in the eyes of the league. I don't think that's the case. I want to shoot that one down. I know you're a loyal listener, loyal follower here. Appreciate it. They're not trying to do anything to prop anybody up or make anybody else look bad. It's just a method of teaching and coaching that I think sometimes has its benefits and has its benefits. But I just don't think this is the kind of season necessarily to be holding Kelel Ware under 10 minutes. Not when you have so few other options, and also not when Jovic has played poorly consistently, because that's part of the thing here. It's kind of like, it's not like you have somewhere else to go, right? Like, it's not.
Also, Ethan, Greg, there's a play in the game where Nico has 2 blocks, and he and Kelel basically swallow up a corner. I don't know why he went to like just straight Nico at the 5 when Kelel and Nico have put together great moments. Well, not great moments. They've put together some good moments together. And we haven't seen Kelel with Bam in a minute.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's true. I will leave it there. We're going to do more podcasts tomorrow. This is frustrating. We were coming in the fourth quarter hot. We're going to talk about, this 2-game winning streak and OKC beware and all of that stuff. Put John on the back burner. we'll be back to Job Podcast tomorrow. We appreciate all the comments here. Again, I think the frustration of the three of us has showed through tonight, and it's a late night. We're going to let Alex and Brady clean it up from the arena. Also, check out Brady's takeaways after the game. I'm just about to put those up, which is one of the reasons I need to get off the show, because Brady's going to be mad at me that they didn't go up right away. And I can't have Brady mad at me because Brady is our franchise player. We all know that. Anyway, our non-franchise players, Ethan, Greg, Eternal, appreciate you joining us tonight. Have a good one.